So in the scenario where a user scans with their personal mobile device that normally falls outside of the corporate issued security controls, they're able to scan said malicious QR code that has the calendar invite, that inside it has maybe a embedded phishing or malicious Zoom link. They now add it to their corporate calendar, and later on, maybe they open it on a corporate device. So it creates a security gap where the personal device can become an attack vector that compromises a corporate system or corporate data.
Welcome to CISO Unscripted. This is a conversation series where we step back from the noise and talk about what's actually changing in cybersecurity, what attackers are doing, why it's working, and what security leaders need to pay attention to next. These conversations, they're grounded in real investigations from Unit 42, not headlines, not hype. I am Mitch Mayne with Unit 42. Today, we're going to look at a piece of research on QR codes. QR codes were built for convenience. You scan, you act, you're done. And that's exactly what makes them attractive to threat actors. Unit 42 is seeing over 11,000 malicious QR codes every day. Now, what makes this dangerous isn't the QR code itself, it's what happens after the scan. Today's QR codes can trigger logins inside trusted apps. They can initiate payments, or they can actually download software. And it's often on your personal mobile device that lives entirely outside the enterprise visibility. Now, attackers are exploiting the gap and using shorteners, deep links, and direct app downloads to bypass both your awareness and security controls. In some cases, a single scan is enough to hand over your entire account. This isn't just mass phishing anymore. We are seeing targeted campaigns, including messaging app takeovers tied to geopolitical conflict. Today's discussion is going to go beyond QR codes to look at how attackers are using them and to move to the edges of the enterprise where identity, mobile behavior, and trust intersect. To break down what we are seeing in the wild, I am joined today by one of Unit 42's best researchers behind the work. And with me today is Diva Oriane Marty. Diva Oriane is a senior web security researcher here at Palo Alto Networks, and her team is focused solely on designing and building data-driven countermeasures to detect web-based threats. Diva, it's good to have you on.
Thank you for having me, Mitch.
Let's just dive right into this because this is a keenly interesting piece of research, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. I want to start with what I call moving beyond the web link. Your research notes that we've moved past simple phishing, where a QR code just leads to a phishing site. You talk about something called in-app deep links. So for a C-level executive or a CISO who may not be a mobile developer, can you explain what a deep link is and how an attacker can use one to bypass the browser entirely?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're familiar with QR codes that redirect to simple HTTP URLs, but QR codes can also encode specific behaviors, which, as you mentioned, are in-app deep links. And they're basically just hyperlinks that direct visitors to specific screens or contents within a mobile application. For example, it can be something such as if a prefix starts with SMS and then the phone number and then hello, it will automatically open up your text messaging app, put in the phone number, and put hello as the message to be sent. So that essentially makes it easier for attackers to direct their attack to a specific mobile application and for a specific action to take place. So the functionality is basically designed to have a smoother user experience, but also removes some of the friction that would normally be in place, which makes it harder for an attacker to reach their specific goal.
All right, so let's talk about the so what. This is what I think of as the enterprise blind spot. One of the most concerning parts of this report is that these attacks often target, guess what, guys, our personal mobile devices, which frequently lack the same security controls as a corporate laptop. So why does a malicious QR code that modifies, let's say, a user's calendar or their contacts, why does that matter for an enterprise? What's the risk to the corporate network?
Right. So the mobile devices, as you were mentioning, are usually not company issued for most employees, but they often are logged into maybe our corporate email accounts or our corporate calendars. So in the scenario where a user scans with their personal mobile device that normally falls outside of the corporate issued security controls and network firewalls, they're able to scan said malicious QR code that has the calendar invite, that inside it has maybe a embedded phishing or malicious Zoom link. They now add it to their corporate calendar, and later on, maybe they open it on a corporate device or some other information gets leaked that way. So it creates a security gap where the personal device can become an attack vector that compromises a corporate system or corporate data.
Well, that is kind of creepy, especially for somebody like me who is famous for, like, our little tests that go out from InfoSec and from security to make sure that you're not doing stupid things on the web. I fail them all the time. So it's super, what you're saying is like, I could scan something on my phone and that would go to a Zoom meeting. It's like, yeah, I'll want to set this meeting up with such and such a vendor, say I'm an RSA, and that could contain a malicious link. And then I turn around and I open it on my laptop to go to the Zoom meeting and boom, I'm compromised.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Creepy and cool, like I said. So let's talk about this one. You found attackers are using QR codes to distribute direct APK downloads. First of all, let's talk a little bit about what those are. And I know these completely bypass the safety of the App Store, right?
Okay.
So since we can't tell employees and we can't tell everybody, it's just like, don't just download any apps anymore. What for security teams? What do they do now? How do they provide automated guardrails for a device that you've already mentioned, our cell phones, once again, guys, that they don't fully control?
Right. So there's always cyber hygiene warning people to not blindly trust QR codes and check the link or the content that's embedded before clicking all the way through. And as you're saying, the potential can be to even download malicious applications directly. So APK stands for Android Package Kit, I believe. And so it doesn't require to go through the App Store to get an app on your phone if you're downloading the file directly. So other than warning people, there is ways of implementing additional security measures and precautions. One approach that we take today on advanced URL filtering products is to proactively monitor and analyze the QR codes on websites and block web pages hosting malicious QR codes before they can be scanned by users. This allows indirectly for us to protect unmanaged devices, reducing the opportunity basically for a user to scan it. And this is kind of our solution for not having control over user mobile devices. So basically the goal is to scan QR code content on enterprise devices before execution, which can limit these opportunities for malicious interactions, at least when they originate on these protected corporate devices.
So this is interesting to me because one thing that, I've been in security like a decade now. So I have heard this whole cyber hygiene thing, like the lather, rinse, repeat, brush and floss. It's like, we say this over and over and over again. And here we are again, like breaking it down to the human element where it is so easy for us to scan, a QR code and go wherever it goes. So people are actually scanning QR. Even I wouldn't do this, but people are actually scanning QR codes and then downloading applications from the QR code.
It will so kind of in the same way in app deep links, there's an automatic flow that's into that iPhone or Android phone is meant to have when it receives certain data from a QR code, right? So if it's receiving a URL that contains a file, it automatically will start setting it up. There's some guardrails in place. It will ask, are you sure, etc. But if you're not aware or not anticipating this, there's a risk that you end up installing it anyways.
All right. I see it now. Okay. So also creepy and cool. It's amazing what technology does for us to make us more smart and efficient and also make us have more risk. So let's talk about this one. I found this keenly interesting, and this is the geopolitical angle that you guys touched on in the research. So you touched on highly targeted attacks, specifically those around Ukrainian signal users in the context of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Does this suggest that QR codes are becoming a preferred weapon for state-aligned actors? And should CISOs and C-level executives be looking at this as a sophisticated APT threat vector? Or is this more than just commodity phishing?
Yeah, so we found campaigns targeting signal users with malicious QR codes, and which essentially what it was doing was when if scanned, the attacker would get control over the device's signal account. So we found that the trend was more in line with QR codes being used to compromise messenger accounts and target social media applications. that was the popular attack vector. We found amongst those cases, there was a case of state-aligned actors using it for this specific APK. There were other reports by CERT-UA and Google Threat Intelligence Group describing this effort to target certain Signal messaging accounts. What our blog shows is that these in-app deep links can target such applications, and that the trend is around getting access and compromising social media and messenger applications. So whether it be for cyber criminals or state-aligned actors, it's the general trend is with the messenger account phishing, as opposed to whether or not it's the preferred vector for state-aligned actors.
All right, so this sounds like it's an ease of use, case where like state-aligned threat actors have picked up on it because A, it works, B, it's easy, C, people are doing it. So,
Yeah.
All right, gotcha. And by the way, you mentioned a very important thing, the blog, the article, the research. We're going to include a URL, folks. So for those of you listening, just look at your little sidebar. There should be a quick link over to read the full report. Diva, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate your time. You've been an awesome guest, and I hope that we have you on again. By the way, kick-ass piece of research. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.